being really tired of my job. I was a postal service worker for over 5 years. And at the time when I first started working there, it was supposed to be a temporary job to get by while being in school. And we all know that the Bay Area is getting more and more expensive. So more and more I found myself working and eventually dropped off of school. And it wasn't until like my third year there that I was like, this can't be it for me. I need a career. I need to be able to grow with a company, like a nice salary growth. And I just need a more purpose and to be able to provide for my family. And I started to look into jobs within tech because we all know that's the fastest growing field. And being that I had no technical knowledge, I started off just with a simple Google search of entry-level positions within tech. And Salesforce came up a lot on blogs and job boards. And while looking into Salesforce, I found Climb Hire. One of the best decisions I made in my life. And so I am an alum of the second cohort of Climb Hire. I came in with very little technical experience, and it was a challenge, you know, being a mom, still working for the Postal Service mid-pandemic, but I did pass the exam. And now I'm just passionate about the work here that we're doing at Climb Hire. And I'm going to talk about a bit more about our mission once I roll out the presentation, but I just wanted to cover what it is, how Climb Hire has impacted my life, and how it may impact yours. So give me a second to pull up my presentation. I'm going to turn my camera off while I roll the slides, just because I don't want any mishaps on the space of my computer. All right. I will also give you guys access to this presentation so that you have some of this content. Okay. Let's see. Now I have to share my screen. All right, and can everyone see that perfectly clear? All right, so here at Climb Hire, we are trying to help individuals break into careers. Sorry, let me see how I'm working this. Okay. So we are a nonprofit organization. We were founded by a social entrepreneur, Nita Pelment, and it was at her time with LinkedIn that she learned that 9 out of 10 jobs don't quite make it to the job market. So when you're scrolling and looking for a job, there is a great percentage of jobs that are filled by internal referrals and they don't make it to the market. So just the job market in general is very competitive on the jobs that do make it there. So that is showing that social capital actually matters. And our approach to success to prepare young adults, our approach to success is to prepare young adults who are currently employed in gig economy jobs, working minimum wage, to enter into fulfilling, financially stable career. We do this over 150 hours of network building. Like I mentioned before, you kind of had to have a network in order to get into most positions. Technical training based off of our career track, and professional development instruction. So what separates Climb Hire from other accelerated training programs is that we're a community, and each cohort climbers establish a culture that builds community. One thing that I want to say about our community aspect is like, once you come into our doors, you can't get rid of us. Our alum, uh, they stay connected in various different ways. We have events, we have happy hours, but then we also have our support groups and Slack channels. We also have a great part of our model, which is paying it forward through fellowship. So a lot of the people that you'll have interactions with that'll coach you and help you along the way were participants in the program. And that community pays back in more ways than one. We understand the importance of building relationships and professional connections. So climbers are provided with opportunities to network with professionals in the industry through two different types of events that I'll talk about later. We also have the pay it forward model. So the program costs nothing upfront. You don't pay for anything. It's not until climbers pay it forward until after they secure their first job, making above the livable wage. So currently right now, we have two career tracks. We have the Salesforce administrator track. That's 24 weeks. It's ideal for analytical, detail-oriented problem solvers. It's a bit more technical than the tech sales track. And general work experience is helpful, but nothing is specifically required to go into that track. The tech sales customer experience with Better is a 16-week program. It's ideal for self-starters, people who can solve problems through communication and provide delightful customer experiences. Customer experience is preferred, but it's not required. So in short, I would say if you want to go into like a more technical role and you actually like to like solve problems and build things up, then Salesforce Administrator will be a great program for you. If you like engaging with customers and helping them problem solve and giving them information about services and products, tech sales, customer experience with Better will be a great program for you. So I'm going to, on these next few slides, I'm going to talk about our partnership with better.com. And well, let me talk about Better first. So Better is a home ownership startup founded in 2014. They digitize mortgage lending process through proprietary technology. Home ownership is made more efficient and accessible to all. These processes eliminate commission fees, unnecessary steps, and time-wasted appointments. So we just started our first cohort for Better.com. The next cohort will be starting in October or November. So if you're interested in Better, that will be the cohort that you will be going out for. So I want to talk about how our partnership started with Better. We saw that a lot of our alum from Cohort 2 and Cohort 3 were getting hired. And after they were getting a lot of people from Cohort 2 and set aside a certain number of jobs to fill for our third cohort, it only made sense for us to then develop a track for this company. And they fell in love with just what we do here at Climb Higher, and that just being a direct pipeline to qualified candidates. A key goal at Climb Higher is to provide opportunities for economic mobility. So our partnership with Better helps us achieve this by supplementing the customer interaction skills that most working adults already have. The emphasis shifts from having a job to growing a stable career in a financial technology sector. There are a lot of different roles that climbers have the potential to grow into at Better. That's kind of like what I like about what I hear from my fellow alum who are at Better. Some have went into other departments already. So we prioritize learning. Climbers are given opportunities to center themselves in fulfilling roles with potential for growth. What this may look like is maybe you start off at Better as a customer experience associate, and then maybe you may later go into a loan officer, or trying to think of the other role that someone else just got recently. But there's so many different things that you can do with that company, and they encourage their employees to move off into other departments. I believe they'll give it like 6 months before letting you explore where you can apply your skill base within the company. So our customer experience cohort time commitment is about 16 weeks for 2 sessions each week on Mondays and Wednesday nights. So it alternates between discussions, role playing, and project-based learning in a live virtual Zoom classroom. The curriculum is balanced content featuring development of professional skills, client success skills, learning office tools and technology, and the introduction to mortgage lending. Those professional network opportunities that I spoke about earlier are 2 different types of events: the volunteer and the social capital events, to build and strengthen professional networks with hundreds of tech professionals. To kind of like give you a scope of how different they are, the volunteer event, those people will help you on everything that has to do with professional development. They'll look over your resume. They'll look at your LinkedIn and give you pointers on that. They'll give you mock interviews and help you kind of put together your star stories. Anything that has to do with what you'll have to sharpen up for your job search, there'll be a volunteer event to help you with whatever major component to your job search portfolio that you're doing that week. And then we have the social capital events where it's more relaxed, more chill. It's kind of like happy hour, cocktail hour, where you're just able to vibe out with someone from another company, kind of ask them about their career narrative. And both events are an excuse to kind of like gain a mentor and gain a social contact, or someone that you can connect with, and kind of have them guide you on your journey. So the technical curriculum, you'll learn about mortgage lending content, become fluent in terminology, concepts, and practices commonly used in the mortgage lending industry. The productivity tools, you'll leverage office and productivity tools and technology to improve efficiency in the workplace in daily tasks like scheduling, emailing, internal communications. And then kind of understand the best practices about how to listen critically and summarize clients' concerns, de-escalate and problem solve creatively, and communicate effectively. So what happens when the program ends? Once you complete the program, you'll be prepared to interview with the role at better.com and other similar companies. Folks based in certain areas, I think right now I'm just talking about the Bay Area folks, right? So as long as you're 50 to 75 miles from Oakland, you are guaranteed interviews with better.com. And then we'll also have interviews set in place for other similar companies for entry-level roles. Those potential roles will be customer experience associate at Better, processing expert associate, home advisor, or customer care expert. Please, the bathroom. So now I'm going to talk about our Salesforce program, which I am an alum of. Tell you a little bit about Salesforce. So Salesforce is the world's #1 customer relations management platform, founded in 1999. And so Salesforce optimized cloud computing, so organizations and companies can access their marketing, sales, commerce, service, and IT teams from anywhere on Salesforce integrated CRM platform. And if none of that made sense for you, basically any type of data that a company or organization acquire from either their marketing, their sales, their traffic from their website, service, think like Uber, when you send out a service message for Uber or whatever. All of that stuff is going to that company's org, and it can be trying to get my word out. Oh, it can be accessed, sorry. It can be accessed from anywhere because it's on the cloud. So a key goal at Climb Higher is to provide participants for economic mobility. And I said this already, so no need to say it again, but our partnership with Salesforce helps us achieve this by allowing climbers to learn the fundamentals of Salesforce, in-demand and growing administrative capabilities. I'm gonna mute myself 1 second because my son is trying to bother me about something.
No worries, sounds good. Thank you everyone who's joined us so far. We have Amber from Climb Higher here with us, presenting on 2 different career training tracks within Climb Higher. One is Salesforce administration and the other is customer experience. And that is specifically with Better, which is, I believe, if I'm understanding it correctly, kind of like within the real estate world. And yeah, and we'll let her come back to us whenever she has a moment. Feel free, if you haven't already, to please put your name in the chat so we can take attendance and make sure we know everyone who's here. Thank you.
Okay, I'm back. So our Salesforce administrator cohort, the commitment of time is a total of 24 weeks. We meet 2 days out of the week. It's about 6 hours of class, 3 hours per session. Climbers spend a typical 10 hours or more outside of class on assignments. Again, our class format for all of them are a live virtual classroom where we practice role play and do project-based work. The curriculum consists of Salesforce technical skills and soft skills. This includes interviewing skills, elevator pitches, resume writing, utilizing LinkedIn effectively, communication skills, and the use of productivity tools. And they have the same type of events that I spoke about earlier, those volunteer events and those social capital events. So both programs, the professional development, these are the things that you would kind of like go over and trying to build up for your job search. You will enhance your resume through revision. So editing a resume that catches the eye of hiring managers by passing through an ATS. So a lot of people, well, I know that I didn't know this and a lot more people probably don't know this, but everything is automated now. So in order for you to actually get contacted by a hiring manager, your resume has to pass the ATS, which is a machine that's looking at the keywords and giving you kind of like a percentage of how this relates to the job, how this candidate may relate to what you're looking for whatever job that is posted. So this is a really great help. I had a really low ATS score based off of like the resume I came to Climb Higher with, and it has improved greatly through this scope of work. You'll also understand how to interview effectively. So we do this by reflecting on your personal experiences and work history, by delivering concise, effective STAR stories, which are situation, task, action, and result. And everyone knows what these are, but I don't think they all compose a STAR story based off of these questions. And this is usually a really, really good part of the program where you'll learn like how to answer those questions. Like, tell me about a time when you had a customer and you didn't know how to help them, like those type of questions. we kind of help you reflect on those things and come up with great stories to tell during the interview.
Your camera's not on.
Excuse me, can you please, sorry guys, can you please not talk while I'm talking?
Okay.
All right, bye. I'll help you in a second, okay?
Okay.
All right. Sorry guys, I am very much a mom.
We're all parents here, so everyone here understands. No worries.
So practice makes nearly perfect. So we compose your stories and practice them, practice telling them aloud with your peers and staff to build from direct feedback. And this is like the tell me about yourself. You know, when you're in an interview and the first thing they ask is like, they may be looking at your resume, they may have already looked at your resume, but the first question they'll probably open with is, so tell me about yourself. And so we help climbers kind of compose this story, and through various different type of tools and lessons. And then you'll have practice doing your about yourself, either with your peers, with your fellows, as well as the volunteers who come to the event. I believe that was the first volunteer event that I participated in my cohort, is the storytelling, like the tell me about yourself. And you'll get direct feedback and it'll improve week over week during cohort. And then building your network. So you expand your network by building meaningful connections with fellow climbers, climb higher staff, and better staff. Over 80% of our first and second cohorts have secured jobs that increase their income by 2 to 3 times what they came to the program with. And I would like to also mention that when climbers do great on jobs, that opens up the door for other climbers to get jobs with those companies. And also get maybe a climber that they're really close with into a job just by simply asking, you know, you're doing a really great job here. Do you know, would you recommend anyone else? And it's kind of like a way where it's like, once you built that network here, you never know who's looking out for you as well. So here is a slide about our fellows. In this picture, you'll see Jessie at the top left, the top right, and she is the fellow. She is a Cohort 1 alum. She has an amazing story, by the way. As a fellow, you're like an alumni that's serving as a peer educator, mentor, or coach. And so this is her pod that she coaches through each week during cohort. This is a cohort 3, her cohort 3 pod. But fellows really lift up the climbers in a way that I don't think like some random instructor would, just because they have been through this experience and they can offer like a more relatable amount of guidance through this process. Also, our alumni community act as a space for referrals, support, and belonging. Not only do we refer others on to jobs, but we support people once they get during the interview process, or once they get on their new jobs and maybe this is their first professional role, or they need to freshen up on some of their Salesforce knowledge. They reach out to other alumni in our Slack channels, or just somewhere to vent about, the transition into these new careers. And this is another example of like how we are more than just a class, we are a community, and we keep in touch with each other. So what does it mean to pay it forward? When climbers secure a new position, you'll be required to pay it forward for the next cohort. The installments will be $150 a month for 36 months, covering the total participant cost of $5,400. Now, this is for customer experience with better.com. For Salesforce, it is $7,200. But you can also reduce your total participant costs by serving as a fellow for the next cohort. And that's always a certain credit depending on the track. And then also you have the option to opt out of the weekly stipend. There is a weekly stipend of $75 given each week after climbers submit assignments. If you choose to opt out of receiving the stipend, that will cut down your participant costs substantially. And then another way that people get their costs down is referrals, because we do encourage other climbers to find great people within their community and their network and encourage them to share this opportunity. So here are our metrics. The average salary coming into the program is about $24K. And then the average salary in climbers' new jobs is about $66K. 80% of our climbers have secured jobs that increase their income by 2 to 3 times within 6 months of graduation. And 100% of the interns and contract hires that we do have get converted to full-time employees ahead of the schedule. Another thing I want to point out is we just ended cohort 3 and at the end of May. And so far we have over 60% of those climbers in jobs already. And it has been less than 3 months that some of these people have been certified and looking for jobs. So it's happening much, much faster. And that is that social capital at work, as well as just the climbers being exceptionally well at those with those employers. On this slide, you'll see this.
Sorry, Mom.
Please get away from here. Get away for a minute, okay?
I just wanted to do the thing.
So, so this slide is the alum from our Salesforce cohort. As you can see underneath their name is their former positions.
I'm sorry, Mom.
My apologies. You'll see their former position underneath their name and then their current position. And those are big jumps. Like Cassiano was a groundskeeper. Now he is a Salesforce admin with Bitwise. Lucy was a personal care assistant with the medical field, and now she's an analyst at TPG. And I want to note that, like, while she's an analyst, before she was just an intern, and then they kept her and turned her into an analyst. So that is just like amazing work there. Lonnie was a dance instructor, and now she's a software engineer at Blue Wolf IBM company. And then Stacy was a food service worker in the LinkedIn cafeteria, and now he's a finance intern at betterup.com. Earl was a health specialist. Now he's a processing expert with better.com. And Chris was a customer service associate who is now a processing expert with better.com as well. So if you just look, these are like huge jumps for some of these people. And everyone on this page is certified as a Salesforce admin, but it's so many different roles that you can fall into after getting your cert. I know if I speak on me personally, while I passed the exam for Salesforce admin, and I'm able to navigate and build things in Salesforce, and I'm really thankful for that knowledge, I decided to go another route than to actually like be an admin for someone's org and building all of those business solutions and processes and setting up users. Like, not my thing, but it is my cert that can get me into certain doors. The fact that so many different companies use Salesforce. So 80% of our climbers are now employed by these partners, and these are the companies that we have partnerships with. And now I am going to end here and allow you guys to ask all the questions that you may have. Those questions can be about this, what you saw reflected on the slides, and also any personal questions you may have about my experience in the program.
I see a question in the chat. What is the pay it forward amount again?
So it depends on the program. For customer experience, the tech sales customer experience with better.com, that is $5,400, and you'll pay overtime in payments of $150 a month for 36 months. And then for Salesforce administration, it is $7,200. You'll pay $150 over 48 months. There are options to decrease those balances, like becoming a fellow, opting out of the stipend, or referral credits.
And just to remind everyone, that is after you graduate from the program and you're placed in the job, is that right?
Yes. So whether you're placed in a job or you just end up finding a position on your own, because we have had climbers who find positions on their own. Once you are in the place where you can pay it forward because you are making more than the livable wage, then you'll start paying it forward. And one thing I would like to mention is people always ask, like, what if you don't have a job at some point? So the payments stop based off of what you're able to do at the time. If you find that your internship ended and they didn't have you on for a permanent job, not only will we try to help you with our network looking for your next job, but your payments will be paused. Any other questions?
I'd love to ask a question if you don't mind, Amber.
Mhm.
Oh, there we go. Great. It sounds like it's without interest. That's right, correct?
Yes, it is without interest. And this is because we are a nonprofit, and literally you're paying it forward so that the next person has the same opportunity. So by us paying in those monthly payments after we are successful in getting into our new careers, we're just paying Climb Higher forward for the next person to be able to do the same thing that you were able to do.
So my question, Amber, we have many parents here, so I was wondering what your experience might have been like going through Climb Higher as a parent, and what others' experiences might have been like, and what you might say to the parents here.
So my cohort, there was a few parents, but I was the only single parent climber. So my experience was kind of unique in a way where we started off in person. And so I had a childcare provider, and the LinkedIn building where we were studying at was right down the street from my job. So it was like a perfect transition. And then once everything went virtual, I was like, I am not going to make it to that same class time after work and then go and pick up it's just too late. So I had to, just communicate these things to Alex and Jake. And I would phone in while I'm in transit from work. And I would phone in and try to participate as much as I can. I will sometimes be cooking while class is going and participating, but multitasking as a parent, you just have to. But I would say pacing yourself and really managing your time to complete assignments will probably only be your greatest struggle. And around exam time, when you feel like you are ready to schedule for your exam, just having a plan and sticking to that plan is very important. Again, I was working during the pandemic and then attending class and then attending sessions with my accountability buddies. And I just had to make it work. Whenever it got hard for me, I just remembered that like I'm doing this so I can provide more for my son. So I can't let, being a parent overwhelm me. I know all moms know this, but like we're incredibly strong. So if this is something that you really want, you just got to get that push. And if you need support, like I'm here. I can, help you navigate your way through getting the work done and managing everything to make it over to the other side.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Feel free to put questions in the chat if you feel more comfortable. If you want to be more anonymous with your questions, you can direct message them to me and I can share them with Amber. Or feel free to come off mute if you're just ready to shout out a question.
I hope I did a good job at talking about the differences in the tracks. So one thing about the Salesforce track is you don't have to be really tech savvy to go into it if you're a fast learner and you're just really tech curious. But one thing I will say is through our pre-work and our application process, that's when you'll know if you should go to that, if you should go through that career track. But the customer experience career track to me is like a great sigh of relief for me, for us to offer this, because that is a way for people to do something that they know they can do. Like if you have experience in the service industry, you have experience as a waitress, you have experience as a retail clerk, you can easily take in everything in that track and become a professional within the fine tech industry, and that's right in your lane of customer service related roles.
Mom.
I'm sorry, guys. My son just does not get it. Like we've been going over this for the last year. Excuse me.
Mom, I just want to know what's.
I work from home, so I am at work right now.
Mom,
can I ask how much of working, like once people attain jobs, how much, maybe now that it's COVID, how much is it online versus in person?
So it depends on the company. For better, I believe that ideally they would want you in the office, but during this pandemic, it's been really crazy. It's been up and down. It'll be like, okay, everyone's working from home. Okay, no, we need people to come into the office, or we need people to come into the office on set days. So I know for better, they would want you in office, and they have office in those areas that we're serving. But for some roles, you may come into the office on certain days and then work from home a nice portion of the time. But outside of the experience that I'm seeing with climbers, I will say this. It is a great gamble for a job to put someone in an entry-level position or someone with very little experience into a remote position without some months on the job and seeing how they work and their behaviors and their patterns. So I try to tell people to just be prepared to either work in person or remote, but the opportunity will always, will most likely come up at some point, because we've seen that with this pandemic, a lot of people can't do stuff from home. So it just depends on the role that you're in and the company's needs. Like, for example, if somebody was working for a big tech company and their role is like a software engineering role or something where they have to have a lot of data security from home, they'll either, well, you're most likely probably in your first 6 months, you'll probably work in the office, and maybe they'll set you up at home to work. But for those reasons, some companies prefer the employees to work from their headquarters or their office because of the data security thing, if that makes sense for you. I don't know if y'all remember the Twitter breach of 2020, but it just depends on the company.
Thank you.
But by the way, I work from home and I know a few other climbers that work from home. So like I said, it all depends. The great thing about if you become a Salesforce admin is that you can totally freelance being an admin too. And you can help, you can just go from company to company, helping them with solutions while working from home. It's something that I kind of considered with wanting to make a little extra income. Like, can I find like some companies where I can work remotely for them just a few hours a week? So it's a lot of opportunities out there.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I was wondering also, do you have any like suggestions or yeah, between for people who are maybe deciding between going like the better route or the Salesforce admin route? Yeah, if you could talk a little
How to
bit.
weigh out the,
Yeah, like the pros and cons, or maybe like one type of person would be better suited for one route, or
so the person who will be working for better, right? To look up the company, look up the job titles, and then also to look up what mortgage industry content they would need. And if they want to retain all that information, like it is tech sales at the end of the day, you will be problem solving and all of that. Now, I like helping customers, and I think that's because I was in the customer facing role for so long. But some people like, they don't want to problem solve in that sort of way every day. So if you're like a little introverted, by no means are you going to not engage with people as a Salesforce admin, because you're going to engage with people, period. But if you like more of solving problems and doing something that's more technical, then that's how you would make that decision. I would also encourage people to just go on Trailhead, Salesforce by Trailhead, Trailhead by Salesforce, and set up a Trailblazer account and like start off some entry level modules and play around with the playground. And it's going to be easy at first, but like the more that you play around with it and the more that you learn about what you actually do with Salesforce or what the role of an admin would look like, it'll give you a sense of, I think I'm more curious about this than tech sales, or someone who's like, well, I already have customer experience knowledge. Customer experience, customer service experience, and I already have the knowledge of this, or I know how to interact with people and problem solve. Those will kind of be the ways that you weigh it out. But we also have information sessions, and we also make it very easy for you to apply to both tracks. And once you get to applicant workshop, you can kind of see, like, get a sense of if it's for you, because we do have pre-work for Salesforce, that is. So anyone who goes to the Salesforce track, in order to be accepted, you do have to complete a pre-work assignment, and it's like 6 modules. 5 of the modules are project-based, and we know whether or not people are interested if they get through that work.
What would the like the first steps, let's say we have some people here who might be who end up being interested, what would the first steps toward applying for Climb Higher look like? Where should they look?
So to apply, you will go to, I'm gonna put that in the chat now. To apply, you will go to climbhigher.co. There'll be a little information about each track. Also, there's a link for our information sessions. Now, this is kind of like an information session in a way, but if you have any additional questions, you can email me at amber@climbhigher.co, or you can email the admissions team and they'll answer your questions as well. Excuse me, can you stop rocking my table?
Mommy, I just want
Um,
to finish the picture.
And then another thing that I would say is, if you end up applying, we have changed our application process. So previously at the last presentation I did for you all, first you put in the application, and then you do a video interview, and then you do the Salesforce pre-work, and then you had applicant workshop. Now we're having people, once they submit their application, they come in for the applicant workshop, which is like an environment that's kind of like similar to what class will be like. And we go over some of what the program is about, and then dive into like pair and share activities, life map exercise, and answer any questions and learn a bit more about each other, and then also perform some of our rituals. And then after that, when applicants follow up with their email to restate their interest, they're given the Salesforce pre-work. And then from there, you'll receive an offer letter. So it's a shorter process now. We get to know you first, you get to know us, and then you'll get to know the work. And if you can actually do this work. And it's totally fine if you find that Salesforce is not for you. Is it possible that I can apply for the better track? And we encourage that. We'll also be launching 2 additional tracks pretty soon. Come this September, I think we will go live with Google Project Management track, and then also a track with Fidelity Investments.
Wonderful. Sounds like a really holistic process. Thanks for taking us through it. Any other questions?
Yeah, if we're interested in the future tracks, like the Fidelity ones, should we already sign up now or?
Those applications haven't gone live yet. But I believe there is an email list on the site. If it's not, just send me an email at my inbox, and then I'll make sure that I send you a note when we go live to go ahead and apply.
Awesome. Any other questions before we wrap up? All right. Well, thank you so much, Amber, for presenting. Such a great presentation. So much good.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed coming here and telling you all about this. I just also wanted to say that I appreciate you guys bringing us Ernestine, and I'm excited to see how far she goes. That's exciting. And I can't wait to see some of you guys kind of like come and be a part of our community. And also encourage you to, if you are interested, to find some other people within your community to join with and kind of learn and level up in community with each other. I wish I would have done that. I have a friend now who's currently in Cohort, but it just seems like an amazing experience to have with a friend or someone within your community who's looking for better opportunities just like you.
That's an awesome idea. I love that. Thanks so much, Amber.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Feel free to reach
Bye.
out to me or ask me any questions that you didn't get to ask today.
Yes, and as always, if you want any support with your application materials, anything like that, you can always talk with me or Juliana at our drop-in hours, or just, yeah, schedule a time with us. So we look forward to seeing your guys' interest.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jackie. Bye, Juliana.
Bye, Lucero.
Gracias, adiós.
De nada, gracias por venir.
Gracias.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Woo.
Oh, yay. Okay. Oh my gosh.